Rimuru by Gajeel0828ch15. Emotions. As he heads back, he gets an uneasy feeling. He looks around as he heads toward Tempest. The uneasy feeling does leave, so he decides to use spatial magic to get there faster. Huh? It didn't activate? He thought. Notice. You're currently in a wide-range magic field. Abilities that affect the space outside of the field can't be used. What's going on here? He's about to speed off in the direction of Tempest when Sue shows up beaten badly. Lord Rimuru, you're alright. Yay, but you're not. What the hell happened? Don't worry, I'm safe, this is just a clone. But you need to leave, there is an insanely powerful enemy here. Sue tries to say before his clone fades. What the hell? Why are we under attack? Damn, what's my luck? Milim leaves, now I have to deal with this. I don't think we've met before. An unfamiliar voice comes from behind. Even though I'm going to say goodbye soon. I'm in a fairly bad mood, so I would like you to leave, he says, turning around. When he sees her, he recognizes her from Shizu's memories. Quite the attitude there. The stranger says. Sorry, my name is Rimuru, Tempest, an adventurer. Might you have mistaken me for someone else? No, you are the one ruler of monsters. Your nation is quite the nuisance, so we decide to eradicate you. So we can't have you going back there. Rimuru lets out a sigh. It's terrible timing, but it's nice to meet you, Hinata Sakaguchi of the Western Church Imperial Guard. Quite sharp for a monster. If it's not too much trouble, I would like to talk this out instead of fighting. You and I don't care for the words of a monster, she says, dasking at Rimuru, piercing his shoulder. He jumps back before falling to his knee. My body feels so heavy, he thinks, rising back to his feet. I am impressed that you can move. I figured you wouldn't be able to within this barrier. I see, so that's why I feel weaker. All magicules within it are purified, weakening monsters. I see. I am angry because you hurt my friend, but because I know you from Shizu. He says, be fire, getting interrupted. Are you gonna say she asked you to help? She says, dashing at him, striking him 2 more times. When he jumps away, he manages to stay on his feet. Why do I feel pain? He thought dodge the next hit, but getting grazed by it. I see that no ordinary attack. I see you noticed. I guess I'll tell you then. This skill kills you in 7 strikes. Rimuru drifts of and starts thinking about Milim as Hinata talks. Hinata notices this and attacks. Losing focus in the middle of a fight, I am quite disappointed. He summons Ifrit to buy some time to think of a plan. Ifrit soon start freaking out in pain, so Rimuru calls him back and gets struck 2 more times. Damn, I can't die here. I want to see her again, he thinks to himself. I'll create a body double and make my double use gluttony as a distraction. I hope she doesn't notice I don't have any more chances. The rest up to making it back goes exactly like canon. Switching to what Milim is up to. Milim mostly spent her time playing the part, but when Clayman wasn't around, she would use Frey's crystal ball to watch over Rimuru. She loved to see Rimuru as a teacher. She had to convince herself not to rush to him. I wonder how I would look as a teacher. Damn, I wish I could be there with you, Rimuru. Her time to watch over him could never last due to her mission. Eventually she noticed he was getting ready to head back home. She notices that he seems uneasy as he heads on his way. She begins to worry something bad will happen. She continues watching and sees Sue appear beaten. What the hell is going on here? She yells. Sue's double disappears and Milim begins to worry even more. She sees as the stranger approaches. She's confused on why Rimuru seems to know who she is. She sees the stranger attack and hurt Rimuru. Milim's anger slipped out a bit as she squeezed the ball, cracking it a little bit. Frey bursts through the door after hearing Milim yell. Frey gets closer to see what's going on and is stunned at what she's seeing. Next thing they see is Rimuru getting erased by the last attack. Frey notices something in the grass in the distance and tries to point it out to Milim, but Milim's anger starts to take control as the ground beneath her starts cracking and shaking. I'll kill her, Milim says in a dark tone. I'll erase everything connected to her. Frey is overwhelmed but manages to grab Milim and point out he's alive. Milim looks at Frey with tears running down her face as she calms down a bit. He's alive? She asks in a sad tone. Frey walks up next to her and points out Rimuru's slime form in the distance. A wave of relief hits Milim. Milim then puts the ball down and hugs Frey and begins to cry in her arms. Frey embraces her, petting her head. I thought I wouldn't be able to see him again, Milim said crying. You know he won't quit until he gets you back, Frey said comforting Milim. Milim smiles and nods as she calms down while still in Frey's arms. They stay like that for a while but eventually break apart. Let us get back to work so you can get back to him sooner, Milim. Milim smiles and agrees, leaving with Frey. When we meet again I'll never let go again, Rimuru, Milim said to herself. Ch16. Tears. Rimuru arrives in Tempest and runs into Rigurd. Lord Rimuru, you retuned. Rigurd, are you alright? Doesn't matter, your presence is needed inside. Rimuru goes to reply but hears people walking behind them. He turns around and sees Kaijin and the other dwarves. You're here and in one piece, Kaijin says as the dwarves lower their head. Rimuru looks past them toward the square and notices bodies over there. Who's over there? I'm sorry but everyone needs your counseling inside, Rigurd says, trying to draw his attention away from the square. Rimuru goes to say something but get interrupted by a big explosion nearby. He runs toward the explosion. As he arrives he sees Geld and Benimaru along with a few orcs facing Yum, Grucius and a woman. How dare you? Benimaru yells, slamming Grucius. He walks up to him and picks him up, emitting a lot of aura. Y'all dare you betray Rimuru? He says, holding Grucius by the throat. Wait, Benimaru, what's going on here? Yells Rimuru. Benimaru, realizing Rimuru is back, he throws Grucius aside and kneels. Lord Rimuru, you're back, Geld says. What's going on here? Asks Rimuru. This barrier weakens monsters, so we went to find the culprit, Geld says as Benimaru then speaks. But as you see, Yum and Grucius stood against us. Rimuru looks at Yum and the others shocked. We lost too many people for y'all to do this, Benimaru says. No, Benimaru, Rigurd yells as they all fall silent. We will talk about this later, says Benimaru. Rimuru gets angry after hearing that people have died, but before he could say anything Yum speaks up. Rimuru, I had no intention of betraying you, but I couldn't let them hurt Mayulan. Just stop, Yum, you don't have to do this, Mayulan says. But it's my choice, Yum replies. I know as a visitor I have no right, but please hear us out, Grucius says, bowing his head next to Yum. Rimuru starts approaching them. Y'all can stop, this is my fault to begin with, Mayulan says. And what exactly do you mean? Rimuru says, emitting some aura. You will understand when you see, she says as she stands and leads Rimuru away. As they walk, Rimuru notices bloody walls and injured citizens. His anger grows as they proceed. They then make it to the square where all the dead lie. Who the hell did all of this? Rimuru says with aura slowly emitting from his body. It was the humans, answered one of the citizens. We were only following your orders, but then. Enough. No more. Rigurd says. My apologies. Was this my fault because of my rules? He thought to himself. All of this is because of me, he thinks to himself, clenching his fist. If I hadn't used that great magic, this wouldn't have. Before she finished, Rimuru grabbed her by her throat, lifting her up. So all of this is your fault, he says, griping harder. Wait, Lord Rimuru. They all yell. Rimuru thinks of Milim and calms down some and lets go of her as she drops to her knees, coughing. Rimuru looks back toward everyone's shocked faces. Rimuru lowers his head. Notice. The weakening of monsters were most likely caused by the humans Sue spoke of. Of course I need to think about this rationally. I guess Milim being gone so long has me upset more than I realized. He looks up toward everyone. I am sorry everyone, I lost my cool, shall we go discuss this inside? They all nodded and headed in. When they made it in, Mayulan explained her situation to Rimuru, as they all listened in silence. I see, I guess I'll decide y'all's punishment later. For now I want to see all the damage, Rimuru says, standing up. Hakuro and Gavta need some attention. Our potions won't work, Benimaru says. I see, take me to them, says Rimuru. When they make it in, Rimuru immediately gets Great Sage to analyze. Great Sage is able to get rid of the spell that prevents healing, and then Rimuru heals them with a potion. Ah, you're back, Lord Rimuru, they say, sitting up. We're glad you're doing well. Ah, I can't believe I lost to that guy, Gavta says, scratching his head. That just means you need more training with the sword, Hakuro says, laughing. No time soon, you need to rest more, old man. Old? Do I look like a frail old man to you? He says, drawing his sword with an evil smile. No, you look as healthy and fit as ever, master, Gobta says nervously. Everyone starts laughing until Rimuru speaks. I just thought about it, but where's she, and she's usually at the center of the laughter? Shuna says before she is stopped by Benimaru putting a hand on her shoulder. Benimaru then looks at Rimuru's confused face. Please follow me, Lord Rimuru, he says, leading Rimuru out. They all walk in silence through the street, heading past the bodies he saw earlier. They walk up to a huge amount of citizens laying in the road with covers over them. They stop at a body and Benimaru kneels down beside it, pulling the cover off. Rimuru, realizing who it is, filled with anger again, and his aura begins to erupt again at a much stronger degree. Rimuru lowers his aura again, crying, "Please, I need to be alone for a while." They nod and begin to walk away. Then Shuna runs and hugs Rimuru from behind. "If you need me, just call and I'll be there." They then leave. Rimuru puts on his mask to release his emotions. The mask can't withstand the power and cracks. "This is my fault," he says, crying.